da 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 da, ay da 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 da, ay da 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 da 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 da. La 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav V'tzivanu lehadlik ner V'tzivanu lehadlik ner V'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat La 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 la
Welcome, Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos, welcome to Temple Har Zion. And let us begin our Kabbalat Shabbat service created by the Kabbalists at Tzfat 500 years ago, who used to go out into the fields all dressed in white, their hearts full of devotion and yearning to greet the bride Shabbat. So too do we at the end of our weeks get ready to feel the spirit of Shabbat. We turn to page 5 in our prayer books, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitichem l'shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We begin our Psalms on page 11 with Psalm 95. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, naria letzur yishenu, nikad mafanav betoda, bizmirot naria lo.
Great is For Adonai is our God, and we are God's flock, sheep in God's caring hands.
40 שנה אקוד בדור ואומרם טועה לבבם והם לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי ואפים יבואון אל מנוחתי Lai 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 שירו לאדוני שיר חדש שירו לאדוני כל הארץ שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו ועשרו מיום ליום ישועתו ספרו בגויים כבודו בכל העמים נפלאותיו כגדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד נורא הוא על כל אלוהים כי כל אלוהי העמים אלים ואדוני שמיים עשה עוד וידר לפניו עוז ותפארת במקדשו הבו לאדוני משפחות העמים הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו שאו מנחה ובואו לחצרותיו וילי לי 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 לפני אדוני קיווה לשפוט הארץ ישפוט תבל בצדק וימים באמונתו Page 15 אדוני מלך תגל הארץ ישמחו עם רבים.
Please join me for a responsive reading on the left-hand side of page 15. Adonai reigns, let the earth be glad, and many distant lands rejoice.
Darkness around the divine, righteousness and justice secure God's throne. Fire goes before God, consuming the sea.
Flashes of lightning illumine the land. The earth watches and trembles. Mountains melt like wax at the approach of Adonai, at the approach of the Master of all the earth.
The heavens tell of God's righteousness, and all the nations of God's glory.
Light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright. Or zaru ala tzadik u'leishrei lev simcha simchu tzadikim b'Adonai v'yodu lezecher koresho Mizmor, page 17. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, כי נפלאות עשה. הושיע לו ימינו וזרוע קודשו, די אדוני ישועתו, לעיני הגויים גילה צדקתו, זכר חסדו ואמונתו לבית ישראל. ראו כל אפסי הארץ את ישועת אלוהינו, הריעו לאדוני כל הארץ, פיצחו ורננו וזמרו, זמרו לאדוני בכינור, בכינור וכל זמרת, בחצוצרות וקול שופר, הריעו לבני המלך אדוני, ירם הים ומלואו, תבל ויושבה, נערות ימחאו כף, יחד הרים ירננו, לפני אדוני קיווה, לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, וימים במישרים. די 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 Page 19. Adonai malach yirgezu amim, yoshev keruvim tanu taretz. Moshe ve'Aaron. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו.
Please rise. We are on page 21, Mizmor LeDavid, our last psalm before Lecha Dodi. Acclaim Adonai, the voice of Adonai, with all its power, with all its majesty, shatters the cedars, making the trees dance like calves, but also blessing his people with peace.
מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בנעלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני ביד קודש, כל אדוני על המים את הכבוד ירים, אדוני על מים, מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני ביד ההר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון, וסיריון כמו בן רמים. כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יכול יעלות, ויחשוף יערות ובחלו כולו מרכבות, אדוני למבול ישב, ישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך רמו ושלום. היי 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 lai 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 lai.
Please be seated. We turn to Lecha Dodi, page 23.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur אחד, ישמענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך הפכה, רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התנערי מעפר קומי, לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי, על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי, קורבה אל נפשי גאלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורי קומי אורי, אורי, אורי. שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לא תבושי ולא תקלמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי, בך יחסו עניי עמי, ונבנתה עיר אל תהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Let us go directly to the last stanza on the bottom of page 25 as we rise pick up our Siddurim, and face the entrance. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha v'tzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela.
Please remain standing for the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. We unite in heart and mind. We are on page 39a.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMivorach. Baruch Adonai HaMivorach Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated, and we turn to a responsive reading in the far left column of page 39a. Beloved are you, eternal God, by whose design the evening falls, by whose command dimensions open up and eons pass away and stars spin in their orbits.
Sings your creating word.
In rising sun and in spreading dusk, creator of all, you are made manifest.
Eternal, everlasting God, may we always be aware of your dominion.
Beloved are you, Adonai, for this hour of nightfall.
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzivaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai. Amari Varavim. Page 40, Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael. The last 5 lines. Ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu uvahem negei yomam v'layla. Ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu uvahem negei yomam v'layla. V'avatecha Tasir mimenu leolamim. Baruch ata Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. Impress these words of mine upon your heart and upon your soul. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a symbol above your eyes. Teach them to your children by speaking of them, when you sit in your home, when you walk on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and on your gates. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor daber b'nei למען תזכרו ועשיתם כל מצוותיי ואתם קדושים ללכת. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. ויציב לך.
Let us turn to page 43b. We have a responsive reading. 43b. You proclaimed the covenant on the seventh day, declared it and decreed it. You loved this day, we inherited delighting in its remembrance.
And began its command with the word, remember, Azachor.
From the time you bestowed it, joy filled the hearts of Yeshurun, the people you redeemed.
Securing the cause of righteousness,
You exalted Shabbat as a sign between us forever. In 6 days your world was formed. On the seventh day you rested.
And on this day, Israel, your people rest.
To honor your name, they sing songs of praise to the one deserving of praise.
And the song we sing is, Who is like you, Adonai, among the mighty? The fourth line. Ay bye bye bim bim bam, ya bye bye bim bam. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Norati lo tosef ele, norati lo tosef ele. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam לפני משה, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, ויעמידנו מלכנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך, והושיענו למען שמך. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ובששת וביום השביעי שבת וינפש יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בהגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. ישמע רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן.
Please rise. We begin our silent Amidah on page 47. We continue silently through to page 52. Since it is Rosh Chodesh, we add the prayer on page 50 for Rosh Chodesh, page 47 to 52.
ראש חודש הזה la 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 Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen.
Please remain standing for Kiddush, page 55.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri agafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uv'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit. Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'acharta, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodecha, b'yava uv'ratzon, inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Please be seated. Shabbat Shalom. When I was young, I used to enjoy reading science fiction books and watching science fiction movies. And one of the themes that was very prevalent was a future where robots became so evolved that they could take over many of the tasks that human beings were doing. And then human beings were left with nothing to do because the robots had taken care of everything else. And then in many of them, the robots also then turn on the human beings. But there's also another side to it too, which was that out of all of this, there was a growing loneliness from human beings, because each one of them was just one individual taken care by an army of robots and not interacting with other human beings. And then one more modern one, an animated movie that came out not that long ago, Wall-E. It's a future where individual human beings are on spaceships, eating and drinking fast food, with just surrounded in a big chair, connected to screens, and just completely vegged out and going through the universe in that way. Nothing else in their lives. So in the past months, many of us have been hearing about this revolution in artificial intelligence, right? And since the new AI chatbots come out, and AI really appears to be on the verge of taking over a lot of what used to be human tasks. Writing articles, giving Divrei Torah. I tested that this week to see if they could give a Dvar Torah. And I wrote, in the style of my father, who's a rabbi, would they be able to find his stuff online? And they did. And then in the next decade, they say many jobs, administrative jobs, all kinds of jobs may be taken over by artificial intelligence. And it could revolutionize the way we do everything and interact with everything. But what will it feel like to be a human being without work, without purpose, machine doing everything for you? So the Torah this week is the portion of the Metzorah. And the Metzorah in the Bible was a person who was stricken with a particular kind of skin disease, a very mysterious skin disease, because you read the Torah, it could come up in the legions that were yellow and red and white, but it also could be caught by houses. And the priest would see a person with this and say, this person is impure, and then later on they would declare, this person is back pure again. And they would have to make sacrifices. And there's many, many verses of the Torah that are dedicated to this strange disease. And the rabbis, they said, what is this disease? This disease, which they didn't recognize from anything in their time. It must be some ancient disease. They really had a spiritual cause. And in their mind, it was when a person speaks ill of another person. That's, in those days, which were holier, that's what would happen. And they see this because there's a point in the Torah where Miriam speaks ill about Moses, and then God strikes her with this disease. So it's a very unusual part of the Torah. Creepy. And what emerges from it in some really interesting way maybe more than any other part of the entire Torah, is the intense sense of togetherness of this community of the Jews who had left Egypt and were now in the desert traveling together. And the togetherness we still have, right? Because the disease, what it did was disrupted community. And the priests who were the spiritual symbols within the community, they would examine the impure, and if they were impure, they'd have to send them away from the community. They'd have to leave that intense togetherness of these people who had left Egypt together, and they'd have to rend their clothes, the Torah says, and walk out of camp screaming, I am impure, and spend a period of time away in seclusion from everybody else. And then when they came back, it was this really beautiful ritual. The priest would come and declare them pure again. And then if they were ready, they would shave all of their hair. They would take a ritual bath in mikvah, and then they would make a sacrifice. And two birds. One of the birds would just be sacrificed, and the other would be let loose over the fields, completely free. And the commentators say it was symbolic of a sense of expanse and of suddenly feeling one's heart expand back to include everybody else, returning to the community. So the rabbis, when they said that this is all about speaking ill about another person, part of it is because community was so important to them. Right? Hillel says, do not withdraw from the community. And it's why for them the punishment of seclusion, that's the worst thing that can happen to you when community is so important, to be sent away from everybody else. And there's only one sin in their mind which would be so bad for that, and that's when you start to turn the community into a bad place by going around and speaking ill and gossiping and doing all of that. And then, so what was the punishment? The punishment was not being surrounded by all the people you love and by the rhythm of life of the movements of the community. It was about being put into seclusion. And Sarat, what was this force? This is the force of gossip and slander that pushes people away from each other and causes trouble within the community. And for that person, it's about losing that sense of being with other people. It was communal death. And for Jews, community has been everything for us. It's been the chaim, the life of us from Sinai, from Egypt to Sinai, through millennia of persecution. It's what's kept us together, part of a whole, and a sense of being able to serve other people and being part of something greater than ourselves. And when it's not been there, we've had this sense of a spiritual disease, of not feeling it. And maybe that means that we have something to contribute at this moment in time when community is being so eroded, and we have this sense it might be even more eroded. The machines are going to take over. But then maybe we have something to teach. And maybe there is a ritual there that we can take here of how to counterbalance this side of life that's only growing, of being more and more hooked into computers, of a way of coming back into the community, of coming back among other people, of feeling a sense of love and of expansion of our inner being instead of just focused into the ether. So that we too can all feel, even as our physical lives are improved, that our spiritual lives also have a grounding, and that we continue to evolve as spiritual, social beings bound together by God and the covenant that's held us together for millennia. Shabbat Shalom. Please rise for Aleinu, page 56.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינת עוזו בגובהם מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אין עוד אין עוד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. We turn to our Mourner's Kaddish. We're on page 58. This week we are observing the following yard sites as a community: Robert Bakal, David Benjamin, Ethel Blackman, Robert Blum, Al Blumenthal, Thelma Bolleton, Herschel Bornstein, Fanny Brenner, Marjorie Kaditz, Pearl Cohen, Harry Cohn, Jacob Falk, Ida Tuvin Ginsburg, Lucille Glass-Spiegel, Samuel L. Greenfield, Ida Hotismiki, Morris Corzin, Sheldon Krasnow, Harry Levin, Martin Noose, Seymour Piellet, Ida Porter, Saul Rothstein, Julia Savitt, Rose Schiff, Robert Aishab, Mayor Schumann, Joshua Shapiro, Ada Sperling, Sam Steinberg, Bella R. Watman, Evelyn Winnett, George Ann Zussman Amato. So anyone whose yard site was not announced, you may rise and say it now, or please rise, and if you are in mourning or observing a yard site, rise and join me in the words of the Kaddish. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divra kirutei ve'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedech u'beit Yisrael b'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam olmei almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitchumam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudesha brichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlam rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'momav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'akol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. Now I have announcements from Jerry Bloom.
Thank you, Rabbi. Here are the announcements for April 21st. Thank you to board member Monica Norlander for ushering. And we have some upcoming festivities in honor of the State of Israel. This Sunday at 10:30 a.m., Miss Claudine will be having a 75th birthday party for Israel with kids aged up to 7 years old and their families. You should have registered, but slip in for stories, songs, crafts, and a taste of Israeli food. Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's Independence Day, will be celebrated this Wednesday with a service at 6 p.m. and an Israeli meal at 6:30. But please register so that we can plan for how many people to expect. Sunday at 10:45 is the final session of Rabbi Glick's The Revolution of Kabbalat. This month, a discussion is planned on how Mashiach, the Messiah, has transformed Judaism. Please note that the class begins at 10:45, not 10:30. Thursday morning learning with Rabbi Glick is just beginning its next exploration with a new series on the miracle of Midrash. Beginning at 10 a.m., each class focuses on one Midrash from Sefer HaAgadah by Bialik, and there'll be reading, studying, and discussing. Next Sunday, our previous popular kids offering of Hollywood Havdalah changes with the later timing of sunset to Sunday movie matinee. Kids 7 years old and younger get a chance to watch a movie, eat pizza and popcorn, and hang out with friends beginning at 4 p.m. Once again, registration is now required. And finally, please leave your prayer books with the binding facing upwards so that the Siddurim last longer. Now join us for a simple Kiddush and Shabbat Shalom.
It's a keeper. Let us conclude with a Don Olam, a nice gentle melody, page 211 in your Sidurim. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Liet Nasa V'chevtzo Kol Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra V'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא אחד ואין שני לעם שלו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה והוא אלי וחי גואלי וצור חבלי ביצרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא בידו אף כדרוכי בעת ישן בעירה ועם רוחי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא יירא.
Please rise for a concluding bracha. Kadosh Baruch Hu, Holy One, blessed be He. May we always take with us the togetherness and feeling of community that has been ours for millennia, for thousands of years. May we teach it to our children and to our communities to feed the human spirit with what it needs to thrive, to bless the world with peace, healing, and justice. And let us say, Amen.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך.
May Adonai bless and protect you.
יאיר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך.
May Adonai's countenance shine upon you. May Adonai bestow kindness upon you.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום.
May Adonai's countenance be lifted towards you. May Adonai grant you peace. Shabbat shalom.
שבת שלום.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
To all you folks at home.
I have bread for those who wish to bless. Sure. With my little Shabbat shalom cover on it.
Oh, I love it.
What God? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.